I guess the question for me is I'm going to bring in something that you emailed me about. You
Mhm.
said that your plan is to do 8 hours a day
Yeah,
between now and January.
yeah. And it's been working out.
How long have you been doing it for?
A week after, because after that LSAT, I said I have to really dedicate time to this. So I've been doing that ever since November, ever since my LSAT November 14th. I think it was it. I think it was November 14th. I took it.
Yeah, thereabouts. Yeah, yeah. But basically, so it was interesting to me that you've done it for like a week or so, maybe two, and
Mhm.
you've got about 2 months, a little less, until January.
Yeah. Is that possible to boost the score in that time?
You can certainly boost it. My question is, will the 8 hours a day be sustainable for you?
I think so because I'm not working right now. So I mean I could dedicate that time. Um it's not it could be a little bit strenuous, but I'm really dedicated to make it work.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. And I believe that you could. The question to me is whether you should. And so,
Oh.
what do those 8 hours look like?
So before you sent me the schedule, I was doing it sporadically. So honestly, I didn't have a framework. So that's why I signed up because it wasn't going as best as I thought because I was doing mixed review. So I was doing reading comp, logic games, going over my books again, just mixing it up. But today I went over the schedule you did, and I'm going to focus on the logic games for the next 2 weeks and follow that schedule. So it feels a little bit more structured because last time, like for the last week, it hasn't been structured, and I didn't know where to really start.
Structure is key, no question about it. Doing 8 hours a day of logic games alone sounds brutal to me. I mean, I don't know if you've actually done it yet in that way, but I wouldn't commit to the 8 hours a day and seeing. I would instead suggest you see what changes as it unfolds. And the question, I guess, is why do you need 8 hours specifically? Is it because you think more is better?
I want to get to the 170s. So if I'm getting like about 10 wrong per section, it's like low 150s, mid 150s, right? So I thought more time means more, I guess, learning, but I don't know if it will pan out. I'm hoping it does.
How do you study in the lead up to November?
Sporadically, like 3, 4 hours a day. Um, and I noticed I didn't work on my technique. So that's when I got to games and stuff like logical reasoning. It's like I'm not seeing the pattern, so I would take extra time to do the things I would do, and it would take too long for me. So I had to get my technique down better because it's not good. But I'm noticing with I guess for even today, just going through your video with, for example, sequencing, that is a technique that makes me go through that sequencing game. So I'm like, okay, like if I get these foundations correct, I could work better with my accuracy and my speed.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, there's concepts, there's technique, and then there's application, and
Mm-hmm.
you've got to have elements of both.
Yeah.
That I'm certain of. What I'm not certain of is how much of that you need in one particular day.
How much do you recommend?
Depends on your schedule. I'm guessing that if you have 8 hours a day to study, you probably don't have too many other applications.
No. Yeah.
So you could
So
do 5, you could do 6. To me, it's not really about the number of hours. It's about what exactly it is that you're doing.
gotcha.
Sporadic doesn't sound great to me because you want to have momentum. You want to be maximizing what you can reasonably put in.
Okay.
But everything has limits. So there's reasonable and then there's unreasonable.
Okay. So 8 is unreasonable. Okay.
In my view, it is. I mean, of course, there could be exceptions. There could be people it works for. But I guess the question is why you would necessarily need that much and what else might suffer along the way. Have you ever devoted 8 hours of a day of studying to anything?
No. Yeah. Okay. It makes more sense when you put in that perspective.
I mean, what about other, I
Makes more
mean, let's
sense.
say put studying aside. What about training for a marathon? What about a triathlon?
You'll get, tired really
Yeah,
quickly.
same principle here. I mean, your brain has limits too, and what you can the mental focus that you need for the LSAT can be exhausting.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, think about the pre-flex in-person LSAT was 5 sections, 35 minutes, gives you around 3.5 hours. Flex is only 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So 8 hours is like doing 4 flexes.
Okay.
In a day. I mean, obviously the nature of the work is different, but it's still LSAT content.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So what would you recommend my study schedule look like? If I want to jump 15 points, like what would you recommend I do in the next 2 months?
Good question. I mean, so let's say if you wanted to jump 15 points, how would that differ from wanting to jump 20 points or 25 points or 10 points? What changes?
Nothing really.
Exactly. So if you want to improve, what do you have to do?
Just keep on working, right?
Well, just keep on working, but working specifically how? You said, okay, well, there's sporadic on one end, structured on the other end, So there's concepts and techniques, then there's application of those concepts and techniques. And obviously you want to have a number of examples to start seeing the patterns. But after a certain point, it becomes diminishing marginal returns. Do you really need that 30th or 50th example? It could be a nice to have. And with a long enough timeline, I'd say, yes, do it if you can. If you were studying for the LSAT 6 months from now, I certainly think you should do more examples than if you're taking it 2 months from now. Mm-hmm. But there's diminishing marginal returns. So put in what you can put in while also maximizing quality of life, sleep, diet, exercise, relaxation. Those are all really important. Even if you put in 8 hours a day of studying, if you were then burnt out, exhausted, or if you knew it well, but you were hungover, that would make a difference, right? Yeah. If you did it second after you rolled out of bed, that would make a difference. If you did it at midnight, if you're tired, that would make a difference.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So I definitely would shorten my hours and try to work more efficiently with that, because that seems more doable than what I was doing, because I realized like I may not have a social life for the next 2 months. And I was ready for that, but this seems more doable. Okay.
You have the space for a social life, by the way. I mean, maybe during COVID, it's more limited than otherwise, but if you have nothing but time, like I said, sleep, diet, exercise, relaxation, socializing can be part of that.
Yeah. Okay. So definitely take that into consideration. Okay.
We talked about structure. The study plan I gave you to use with the course, that gives you structure in terms of what to do. Then as a side note, there's also how you structure your day.
Yeah.
And so if you want to avoid the sporadic, if you want to avoid losing focus, then you can also structure your individual daily plan. So, okay, well, study from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., take a break for lunch, study again from 1 to 4. That's 6 hours. But before 9 a.m., after 4 p.m., you're pretty free. During lunch, you're pretty free. You can have it all given a full-time study plan. Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.